My name is Bixuan Xu. I work as an analyst and portfolio manager for global equities in Allianz Global Investors in London. I lived in the UK for 9 years, and I grew up partly in Germany, and I was born in Wuhan, so the epicenter of this virus.
Wow, so you've got like an insider knowledge of everything. Can you still have family there? Your father is still living there at the moment, right?
Yes. So my father has been actually on his own for 60 days throughout the whole lockdown period. And at the beginning, I didn't realize how hard it was until I had to self-isolate myself for 14 days. And the way how he spent his time was, so he cooked 3 meals for himself. So normally my mother does that. And he writes calligraphy. So that keeps him calm. That's like a kind of meditation. And he would go out for short work, like every day. But the highlight of his day was really to have the FaceTime with my daughter, who is nearly 1 year old. And he was very worried at the beginning. So he is an entrepreneur, so he has his business. So he's worried what will happen if the business is locked down for 3 months. And then at some point, he just realized, and he tried to focus on the good things in life. So he was thinking, wow, it's so good that my daughter was born last year. Imagine I'm pregnant now, how difficult it will be. And also our family is all healthy. So he tries to focus on these positive things. And also during this time, the bond between the family members, also like wider families with my aunt and grandma, we just keep talking with each other much more frequently. And so I think like this bond to family is really important for people to survive or to feel good about things despite these uncertainties.
You were also in self-isolation way before the UK went into lockdown. So how did you cope?
So the first thing is I made a decision I want to self-isolate. I think that's responsible for my colleagues and for my family as well. This is a decision that people have to make, even it could look quite stupid at that time. So, because nobody thinks it's something serious. But the first thing is you need to make a decision and take responsibility. And the second thing is having a routine is very important. So during the 14 days, it was actually not so difficult because I still worked every day like normal, but just with remote access. And because we have morning meeting and also team meeting, we have those investment process in place. So sticking to a routine was very helpful.
And so did you find remote working challenging at all?
No, actually not. I do miss my colleagues. And I would be quite glad to go back to work, to the office again. But I don't find it challenging. I think, first of all, we have really good technology infrastructure. So like Bloomberg and email access and also all the video calls worked perfectly. So that's the first element. So thanks to our IT and COO function, I'm really grateful we are able to do that. And the second point, I guess, is the culture. So normally, because I work in global equities, I work virtually with analysts in Hong Kong and also analysts and PMs in San Francisco and also in Frankfurt. So it's kind of already what I do if I'm not in the home office. And so normally if inside the organization you have a collaborative culture and you were normally also talking with your colleagues from other locations all the time, this was no problem. And also last week, a colleague of mine from Germany gave me a very in-depth teaching for his sector because it suddenly becomes very interesting. And it took him 60 minutes. And I was really grateful he did it. And at the beginning, we also exchanged 10 minutes just about families and a word and this crisis. So I think, so technology and the culture really help in such a situation. And I don't find it difficult at all.
Oh, that's great. Now we're in a situation where we're all in lockdown. Everyone has to work from home. We have limited social contact. We're only allowed to go outside for necessities. So what's your advice? What's your tips for people who may not be quite as resilient as you?
So I would suggest two things. So the first thing is to think really long term, like kind of to zoom out your time horizon and just think how lucky actually our generation has been, especially living in the UK. We didn't have any major crisis, we didn't have war, and we didn't have any shortage of anything in life. And so in comparison to this really long time horizon and what like the societies have survived, and you would think, okay, this is perhaps nothing, right? And so this is one perspective. And I started reading a lot of history books and also like topics outside investment. And that gives you a perspective, like maybe how small this is, like in comparison to what our grandparents have to live through. And the second thing is it's a bit like Zenism. You try to think, really focus on how you want to spend the day. It gives you certainty because there are so many things in life. Actually, if you look at probability, get killed by a car accident or anything, that's probably higher than the virus. I mean, we need to be very cautious, but then we also need to consider all the unseen dangers we actually face during the daily life, and to having this kind of statistical context at back. And you just try to focus on today, how you want to spend today. And even if you are affected tomorrow, at least you had a really good day.
Great advice. That's great tips to help people with their mental well-being and to help them stay focused. We could be in this for quite a long time, and it's only now that Wuhan has just slowly started to lift some of the restrictions. So how do you think that's changed things in your city? Do you think it's changed the way people live?
I think because the ban has just been lifted very, very gradually since last week, and people are still hesitant to go out, and the measures remain to contain the virus are still stringent in place, and I think it's right to do so because it's not like one peak and then it goes away. It's not. So people in their mindset are probably still in a war zone. And this will probably also be true for our lives in the UK. What definitely changed is, I think, people's hygiene. That's something I noticed, like people definitely wash their hands more often. And maybe also their diet. Because I also noticed here, when you went to the supermarkets, the least sold things are junk food. So people are behaving quite rationally when the crisis time comes. So I think there's probably more health or hygiene related behaviors that people change. And I think over time, people will come out again and go to the restaurant and enjoy entertainment, but it will take time. And so the kind of longer term behavior change is probably really the health or wellness, how the nutrition and the hygiene, because China is still developing country, and the hygiene is not to the highest standard.
If you had to share one thing from this whole experience, what would it be?
I just used the symbol or the character for crisis in Chinese. That's called 危机. It's danger and opportunity. And that's the way I look at it. I think every crisis, whether it's financial or in real life, is a great opportunity to reflect and to learn things about yourself and about the world, and to improve yourself, and try to form some new habits, and to keep it for the long-term benefit. So that's one message I want to share.